Alright, so I'm Donald Spann, Instructor of Call Center Cast, where you can start a remote call center in the next 30 to 60 days. And I wanted to talk to you guys a bit about 5 steps to get you guys to $100,000 a year in profit, preferably within your first year. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that with the virtual receptionist company, the way that you can get to $100,000 is a simple breakdown. So let me show you here. If you look at this, you can see that typically you're looking at about 55 clients without an operations manager. And so if you don't have an operations manager, that means that you are managing the business yourself. So you're taking in certain sales calls, you're handling, things like making sure that your software is put together, making sure that your agents are, ongoing training and support, that type of thing. You're keeping the business running as essentially a sole proprietor, or maybe with your partner, you guys are the management. All right. So about 55 clients, and you're paying yourself, you're about $100,000 in gross profit with 55 clients. Now, if you have an operations manager that you're paying about $35,000 a year, and frankly, at this business side, that's honestly enough, especially with someone that's working from home. You can do that at about 75 clients. So you're looking at about 20 more clients. And instead of the 4 agents that are associated with the 55 clients, now you're at 5 agents. So not a lot of staff, not a large business, especially from organizational perspective. And frankly, as far as you're concerned, in the context of this industry, you're just getting started, and you're already at $100,000 in profit. And this is something that my partner and I was able to do just a little bit over a year. So we didn't get it done in a year, but just a little bit over a year. Okay? So I've got 5 steps for you. The first step is making sure you have a proper pre-launch. Okay? Now, a proper pre-launch is going to have 30 to 60 days. And so there's a few things that you need to do. The first thing you need to do is decide on a niche and build a list of 50 plus potential clients onto that email list. So you can do that, by, going into different Facebook groups related to maybe an industry that you're in, reaching out to some of your family and friends, posting on different social media sites, maybe even running some ads to get some potential people interested, and just having an email list. You're not really selling them on something that they're committing to yet in terms of giving you money. But by launch, you should have about 50 or more emails on your email list. Now, I'll say personally that when I was starting my business, we had 44 emails on our list when we launched. Okay. Now, with those emails, what you want to do is talk about your progress. Make it real simple. We didn't send a whole lot of emails before we launched the company, but you want to talk about your progress. And it's real simple. As you're putting the company together during your pre-launch period, you're doing things such as, hey, we've decided on what our phone vendor is going to be, like our phone system, our software. Hey, we've gotten an idea of what our pricing is going to be. This is what it is. And then you also offer, as you get a little closer to your launch date, some type of incentive. The incentive we did was 10% off for life, for your lifetime of being a customer of ours, as long as you sign up within a specified period once you actually launch the company. So this gives people a little bit of value. It gives people a little bit of excitement, and it makes people ready to commit to you instead of one of your competitors with that lifetime discount. Okay? So with this, and again, we keep it very simple, you should have a launch goal of about 5 to 10 clients. We signed up, I believe, 7 our first day on an email list of 44 people, and by the end of the week, we had exactly 10 clients. Okay? Now, step 2 is brand building and content marketing. Now, there's a short-term as well as long-term benefit to brand building and content marketing. So the short-term benefit is that, when you are sort of advertising your business or marketing your business, essentially what you're doing is you're trying to draw or bring exposure to your brand, right? And so as you're exposing your brand to potential people, potential clients, that essentially is drawing traffic to your website or drawing traffic to your brand overall. So across the web, you want to have more and more sort of pieces of evidence that you're a company that does what it says it's going to do, because it makes you look like a more wholly put together, more comprehensive, cohesive brand. And so when you see that, again, you're going to have competitors in this space. So what you want is at least the illusion, right? Especially when you're first starting off, you want to position yourself to be a more put together brand. So in terms of content marketing, it's a fantastic way to do that. And frankly, what it's going to do is it will turn your traffic that you're able to generate, it'll increase your conversion rate. So say you would have gotten 10% to convert with a well-rounded sort of online persona for your brand, you can rate that up 50 to 100% or even more over time. So that's just short-term benefit. Your initial traffic will convert a little bit better. Now, for the long-term benefit, you will have the ability to eventually share in on those SEO benefits, right? So that means, in this case, getting your brand ranked for the categories that you're going for on search engines like Google and Bing and what have you. So one of the most effective ways to do that, and there's frankly no way around that, is to have content. And not just content, but valuable content that people are sharing, that people are interacting with, right? So in our business, what we did was we actually started our content marketing from the start, like at the very beginning. Even in our pre-launch, we focused on content marketing, and that's actually how we got our emails. We didn't spend any money on ads or anything, and we actually didn't spend any money on ads until over a year into the company, and well after we hit the $10,000 a month in profit mark. So with that in mind, our content marketing in terms of the long-term organic benefit was we didn't have to do anything and people were just signing up. That kicked in around month 7. Now, in the first few months, we did get some signups, like maybe 4 or 5 on a good month, just completely organic without us doing anything. But in month 7, which was July of 2015, we ended up with 17 signups organically. And what happened then is that, our ranking just took a huge boost. We were on the first page for some very important keywords in our industry, including virtual receptionist and virtual receptionist with an S. So we got 17 clients organic on top of the client that we were working to get in month 7. And that was one of the real catalysts that enabled us to take our business to the next level and start to do some real damage in our industry. And I'll say again, it's the organic traffic and the organic sign up that was the main catalyst for getting us to $100,000 in profit. Okay? So the main thing to remember here is that there really aren't any SEO shortcuts here. Content is absolutely king. Now, the good news is that you don't have to do things such as, just throwing out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of articles that don't really have a whole lot of value because you're just trying to be everywhere all the time. What you really need to do is focus on less pieces of content that have tremendous more value in each one of those pieces of content, right? Because what Google cares about now, they have, thought about, hey, what is this person talking about? Is it relevant? They've gone well beyond that. Remember, they have tens of thousands of people working for that company, right? And so after a while, they get more and more sophisticated with, the algorithms and what those algorithms consider. They put out, in terms of the micro update to their search results and their algorithm, they put out like over 1,500 a year now. And so what they're doing when they get to that level of sophistication is they're not only thinking about things such as, hey, how relevant is the content to the search term, like virtual receptionist. They're thinking about things like this specific piece of content, yes, it's relevant, but yes, all kinds of other pieces and brands and articles and stuff, news items are relevant to the keyword. But what stuff do people like? And the way they figure that out is by looking at the interactivity, how much that particular piece of content is being interacted with by other people on the web, namely Google users. So if you put out some awesome, valuable content blog post that has, a ton of shares or even one share, right? Because most articles don't get shares. So if you get some shares, if you get some comments, if you get a certain amount of targeted traffic that is just like, there in the first few days, the first few weeks, that will actually be like a sort of positive feedback loop for your piece of content, and it will enable your brand to be positioned and in a better position on the search results for Google as well as Bing and other search engines. Okay, so focus on quality content as opposed to quantity. All right. Now for step 3, the main thing is to focus on cold outreach. Now, cold outreach can mean things such as, cold email, cold call, and the fact is we live in a marketing world of constantly changing marketing tactics, but frankly, cold outreach is one of the few very simple things that's battle-tested, tried and true, and it's frankly not going anywhere, right? So with that in mind, you want to make sure that your cold outreach is tuned in. Now, when we started our company, again, we got to 10 clients by the end of our first week. But again, we only had about 44 emails on our list, and it took us a while for like 7 months for the content marketing to really kick in. So what did we do in between that, right? I actually personally started making cold calls. The very first cold call that I made on behalf of my virtual receptionist company led to one of our largest clients in the history of the company, well over 5 figures in revenue. Okay, from that one client. And actually, and this is a funny story, which I'll tell some other time, but the person that I talked to was the same person that ended up buying one of my other businesses a little bit over 2 years later. So we developed that relationship from the call that expanded well beyond the revenue that was generated directly for the virtual receptionist company. It forged other relationships, we worked on other things, and that deal ended up being a pretty awesome deal for the company that sold. So definitely make sure that you're focusing on cold outreach. It's a tried and true method. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, and you will get almost immediate tangible results that will allow your business to start to bring in that very critical, crucial startup early on revenue. And it was the thing that allowed us to go from $0 in revenue to being break even and then being slightly profitable by the end of our 2nd month in business. Okay? Now, step 4, you want to focus on having systems that scale. So there's a few things you want to make sure you've done right at the very beginning, because if you set your sort of systems in this way, you won't have to worry about it later when things are breaking and people are freaking out and your business is in disarray because you didn't handle it before and now you're starting to get clients and revenue, right? So there's 4 things to this. 1, you want to make sure you have a solid phone system. A better, more reliable phone system is not the type of thing that you can take a shortcut on in this business. It is literally, from a system standpoint, the most important piece by far. If your agents aren't able to reliably pick up the phone very quickly, have clear connection with the people that they're talking to, and be able to work efficiently, your business isn't going to work. So focus on making sure you select the right phone system for your business. And in my course, I actually do recommend which one worked the best. We have tried literally over 50 in terms of doing demos with the different vendors, and through the course of our virtual receptionist company, we actually use 5 different systems, and there's one that's a clear-cut winner above the other 4. Okay. Number 2, you want to have open, transparent environment between your employees and your management. Now, your management could just be you, or you and your partner, or if you have an ops manager, right? Especially when you're early on. You want to have open, transparent communication. It's the type of thing that people might not think about that much. When you're starting a company, you're just like, okay, I've got my employees. They seem like they're pretty cool and they're doing their thing. I don't have to worry about it too much. Oh, they can just do their thing. They're autonomous and they're killing it. Well, if you start to build a bit of a team and there's a little bit of sort of discomfort in terms of them feeling comfortable with talking to you and expressing any issues that they might have, those types of things can balloon and come to a bad climax at a time that you can oftentimes least expect it, and will be disastrous for your business. So you want to make sure that early on, again, you have that transparent communication and you're open with them. And when they give you feedback, which they will, especially when you're starting off, you want to make sure that you actually take in, absorb that feedback, and make actions and changes based off of the feedback that makes sense. When you make changes that are directly related to what your agent tells you as things that need to be changed in terms of maybe helping the business as well as making their lives easier, when you make direct changes directly based off of their feedback, that loyalty and togetherness that they feel towards you as an operator, an owner, a manager, as a business owner, and really as part of a team in a sense, it's going to be unbreakable. It's incredibly strong. People feel like they're actually getting something done in their job, and that's incredibly powerful. Okay. Number 3, having a solid system for onboarding and charging clients, right? Now, when you bring on clients, oh wow, so exciting. Well, in this business, not only do you need to sort of sign them up and have a way of charging them, you want to make sure that they're onboarded in a way that is smooth. Because there are some, real mechanics to this process that sometimes can be forgotten. Sometimes things can slip through the crack. You're doing a lot of things really for each one of your clients. So you want to make sure that your system is put together so that when you onboard your client, you're able to service them and provide all the features that you promised to those clients without having any issues, having that transition process be smooth. It's got to be smooth in terms of making sure that they're set up in all of your systems correctly without, issues. And then also for your agent to understand what they're going to be doing for your client very quickly so that they're doing their job correctly and servicing your client to a high standard. Okay, so make sure you have those processes in place. There's plenty of ways to do it as mentioned in the course, but that's certainly something that you want to keep in mind from the start. And then number 4, make sure you have someone on the team specifically responsible for all aspects of the business so nothing falls through the cracks, right? There's a lot of different, even in a tiny organization, there's a lot of different pieces to it. There's a lot of different things that you have to manage. Some of those things don't take a lot of time to manage. Some of those things don't have to be managed daily or even weekly. But there's still a lot of different components, and all of those components need to be attended to, or else the business can start to sort of fail before you even realize it. So not only do you need to make sure you itemize and have sort of a working inventory of all the things that need to be done and taken care of in your business, you want to make sure you assign it to someone. And whether it all goes to you or whatever, there needs to be some specific responsibility and an actual intention and a plan of attack to making sure every single one of those little things in your business, all of those tiny little nagging responsibilities get handled. Okay? So the final step on this, and this is arguably the most important, so I'm going to say last but not least, is make sure, step 5, you hire well, right? Now, when you're starting your business, potentially the most important employees you're ever going to have are going to be your first few employees. They're considered your core team. They are the foundation of your company. It's sort of tough to say it that way, but this is a labor-intensive business because what we're doing is we're providing people to answer the phone for a client that needs their phones answered, right? And so the phone answerers are literally the lifeblood, the make or break of your company. So we talk about how to hire receptionists in day 4 of our free mini course on how to start a virtual receptionist company. You can visit Call Center Cast to check that out. And not too much about that, but the main things you want to focus on is a few things. One, virtual receptionists actually aren't that hard to hire, okay? They're not that hard to find ones that are at least satisfactory. And, in my experience, I've had 11 different companies. In all of the businesses I've ever had, hiring virtual receptionists has literally been the easiest thing. And the reason for that is because you're hiring people for a phone job, right? They're not sales reps. They're not telemarketers that are doing all kinds of crazy cold calling. They're simply like, emulating in-house receptionists on behalf of your small business client. And so, frankly, that's a pretty easy, decent job, right? They're not doing all kinds of crazy data entry or all kinds of filing paperwork. They're just making sure that phone conversations go well. So how do you find someone that's good at making phone conversations go well? Well, you can spot that when you interview them on the phone, right? So what happens is you'll have your phone screening interview, and during that you can tell like what their disposition is like, what their demeanor is like, how quickly they can think on their feet when you're answering certain questions. How good their voice sound, the charisma, whether you feel good, all kinds of little aspects like that. And you can frankly, rule those things out very quickly. And it's just a matter of feeling for the most part, right? If you feel good after your conversation with a certain potential receptionist applicant, then the callers that those eventual agents talk to are going to also feel good, right? And so when your client callers feel good, now your clients are happy and you end up retaining them longer. So outside of making sure that they're good on the phone, you want to make sure that they're extremely reliable. Now, thankfully, in this case, reliable simply means wake up and turn on the computer at the correct time and stay there until the shift is over, or, in between breaks and stuff. So it's not that crazy to find someone, but it's extremely important, and you absolutely do not want to mess that up. All right. Now, I'll give you a quick right now tip because you've made it this far in the video, and I really appreciate it. One awesome place that you can post for potential people to, apply for a job with your new virtual receptionist company, ratracerebellion.com, and I'll put it in the sort of link here. ratracerebellion.com. Okay, they have a giant site, a tremendous amount of traffic, and they focus on work from home jobs. So, you do a listing on there, ratracerebellion.com, and if you put up a solid listing, you should be able to find some people that are good. Over the course of our 5 years, we posted on a bunch of work from home blogs, and we ended up with over 60,000 applicants, more than we could ever need over the course of 5 years before I sold my company. So ratracerebellion.com, start from there. There's some other ones you can check out, but that's certainly a good place to start. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you would like more content like this about how you can get to 6 figures in profit with your virtual receptionist company, or just in general about starting a business that's similar to this or in this industry, the call answering industry, feel free to like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and make sure that you get that little bell tick so that you can get alerts whenever I post a new video. I'm going to be pumping out content for you guys, and I really appreciate you guys watching, and have a good rest of the day.